Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for taking your time to listen to me for a little while. There's so much out there about job searching or preparing for fellowship, and it's all really confusing. And to try to cover all of that in one manageable time frame is impossible. So if you're going into fellowship, there's a whole timeline, right? If you don't know this timeline by now, you should start checking it out to make sure that you don't miss anything. So the important dates is June 9th, right? June 9th is when the 2022 cycle opens. If you're a foreign student, which I think are most of us, and I do mean us, you have to get your token, and that can be on June 10th. And then you're going to be able to start submitting your applications on July 7th. And then you have to worry about when kind of ERAS is done, and then when the rank order list is due, and then when the match is. So the match for the majority of pediatric fellowships is going to be December 15th. And I think where it says December 1st there, that's when the rank order list is due, but don't quote me on that one. But those are the important dates: when it begins, when the interview season is, and when your rank order list is. So since it opens up on July 7th, you really want to have everything done by then. You want to have your application in on that date with everything else in there. You don't really want to be waiting. I don't know if it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If it's a Friday, most people won't look until Monday. All right, so things that we're going to try to cover today are why is a personal statement so important, how to start writing your personal statement, what goes into a CV, how to start your CV, and a little bit more on the job search. All right, so one of the things that you really want to know is, where did SUNY Downstate match before? So a unique thing that I found out today, because I wanted to try to find out if I could get these lists for you guys, or a way to really be able to reach out to alumni. And we'll touch on why reaching out to alumni in a little bit is important. But I wanted to be able to find a way to do that for you. The program does have records of where people matched into fellowship, not so much about where they had matched into residency. So I am going to actually, let's see if we can do this. We're going to go here, and we're going to share my browser screen for a moment. Hopefully that's what you see. You see that was the beautiful music that we're listening to. And there's a website called Doximity. If you guys aren't registered for Doximity yet, that's something that you really need to consider signing up for soon. You're automatically in it once you have a license, I believe. Not that you can control it. So you just log in, put all your credentials in. They already have your credentials from state licensing boards. How they do that, I'm not sure. So you log into Doximity, and then you go and you look at your own profile. And when you look at your profile, you can scroll down to where you did your residency, right? So if I click on where I did my residency, this amazing thing now occurs. I guess this has been around for like 2 years, but it's phenomenal. So you can see up here where it's, and tell me if you can't see it, but up here you can see, I can't change it. I can only look at my own residency programs, but you guys should be able to as well. You can change the year to whichever year you want. And then you can look at all the subspecialties that people went into, right? So this, right now we're looking at everybody who went to Downstate. So if I just bring it down to pediatrics, and then now, this is an amazing thing. These are all my classmates. I thought I went through this for like 10 minutes today. It was so nice to see everybody again. It was great. But that's nice, right? So you can see where they all currently work. So then that way you're able to currently see where people work. And if you're looking for a job rather than looking for a fellowship, you can go ahead and click on the map instead. If it worked for me. Maybe it's not going to work the way I want it to. So you click on the map, and then you just zoom in to the different areas. And I'm not going to waste your time and zoom in now, but you can zoom in and see all the different practices or the official offices that they have linked to their Doximity accounts. So this is an amazing opportunity to be able to then email people, ask for jobs, find out what they did to get the job where they got. You can look through their profiles and see where they did their fellowships, and be able to then ask them, how did they get that fellowship, and so on. So I find that to be amazing. You can also go and do your medical school as well. So you can, as long as your medical school's in there, you click on that, and then you can see graduates from all your medical schools, same thing with the map, and be able to reach out to people who are in those programs as well. This is, I think, one of the most important things when you're trying to either get a job or get a fellowship, to be able to network with the people who are already there. And again, we'll touch on a little bit more for fellowships, why I think it's even more important. So we'll try to make sure I switch back appropriately. All right. All right. So the biggest fear for fellows, people going into fellowship, is that you're not going to match, right? And the reason you go unmatched is, again, for poor scores. But the second biggest reason is people didn't apply to enough programs, or they had a misunderstanding of, what we say a misaligned plan, meaning that they overshot. They shot for CHOP when they should have been aiming for maybe not CHOP. And I don't mean that for you guys, but that's kind of how most people wind up not matching. Some of it is from overshooting. All right. And then another thing is, so if you need to apply to more programs, well, how many programs do you need to apply to? I'm going to show you this document, and then you can look it up online really easily. There's something called the Program Director Survey that's done by the AAMC. For the fellowship match, the last time it was done was 2016. I thought it was going to be done in 2020, but it was not there. The residency one gets done every 2 years. So when you look at this, I know these images are a little small, but this one up here in the top is perinatal medicine. And you can see perinatal medicine, that red dotted line that I put on, goes down to the 6. So that's how many places it took for most people to rank to then have a 90% probability of matching. So the way you interpret that is, if you go on at least 6 interviews and rank all 6 places, you have over a 90% probability of matching into neonatology. And then here, this one is pediatric critical care. That's 9 programs. The rest of them are pretty much 9 programs. And the one at the bottom is cardiology. And you can see that's roughly 9 programs, again, that you rank in order to be able to match with a 90% probability. And then you can see EM, when all the way over at 10, maybe it's a 90% probability. EM, I think, is the most competitive one, and it's been the most competitive one for the past 2 years. And that's why those lines are so bad there. So if you want to go into PEM, we'll talk about that again separately. For pediatrics, they just have these 4. They don't have all the other ones. However, it gives you an idea of what programs are looking for. It goes. I'll touch on it a little bit more in a few minutes. But in the meantime, if you want to just kind of click on the document, and I'll share a little bit as we go through when we touch on when I get the screen for PEM. Oh, there we go. PEM example. All right, so give me one moment. Let me open it up for those who may not be able to see it, and then we will see it all together. And I just want to quickly go through it because I think there's some utility in seeing it for anyone going into fellowship, obviously, but also anyone who is going into a job, because it gives you insight into what people who are hiring you are looking for. All right, so right now I think you can see my PDF. So this is the snippet on pediatric emergency medicine. So this is just some information about the match itself. This stuff we'll go through a little bit more, but you can see this is what people say is important when they're selecting applicants for interview. Don't try to read it off the screen now. You'll have it afterwards to look through it. What's important is the light blue, the 96% and so on. That's how many people said this was important, or this was a factor that they look at. The dark blue is the rating they gave it. So the higher numbers in the dark blue are more important. And again, we'll look at this a little bit more when I'm trying to tell you something else. Don't worry about the marks I made all over this one. This one is regarding after the interview, how did they rank you, and what things were important when they were ranking you. Okay, then we're going to skip down. This one talks about the scores and how much they think about scores are important. And then I thought 5, 6, and 7 were the important ones. So it gives you an idea of what else they think is important. So the certifying exams for pediatrics they think are important. How much dedicated time you had for research in the past. PEM says it's 78% of the programs say it's required, right? And then we'll just move down to give you another example. So frequency of programs interviewing and ranking candidates, right? So if they interviewed you and ranked you, some programs interview very few people and they rank everybody. Others rank fewer. That's what that information is kind of about. I'm just scanning through it quickly to give you an idea of what's on here, and that if you're going into any of these fellowships, you should really read through this now, so it gives you a much better idea of what you're getting yourself into later on.